We have reached the main event of the evening.
This is Voice of the Cage Radio with the voice of the cage himself, Patrick Stanger.
We're about to tussle.
Fighters, trainers, promoters, events, rumors. If it has to do with MMA, we're talking about it. Here's your host, Patrick Stanger.
Welcome to Voice of the Cage. I'm Patrick Stanger, your host. On the phone with me right now is Gil Guillory, who is in a new documentary called FIGHTVILLE, and this movie will be premiering at South by Southwest, and it's a movie about small-town mixed martial arts, basically.
That's exactly right. It follows chronologically what we've done over the last 3 years to build USA-MMA into a regional powerhouse MMA company, and hopefully bigger things on the horizon.
So now you're actually a fight promoter in the movie.
Yeah.
So this is a movie of your fight promotion and what it's like to put on these fights and what all you have to do, and you actually feature a couple. You feature a couple of fighters, right?
That's exactly right. Well, it's a long story, but this Michael Tucker is a documentarian, I guess is what the name is. He's a producer, director, and he's done a lot of prominent independent documentaries about the Iraqi war. So he was finishing up one of his films and met us, and then was kind of taken aback by what we do as promoters, my wife and I, and what we do to put on events, bring mixed martial arts to small arenas. But gradually, as he met us, we were growing. Our company was growing. We were getting to bigger and larger, more expensive arenas, larger and larger crowds. And he thought it was a great idea to follow what we do. And along the way, in these last 3 years, 2.5 years, he's just cataloged it and turned it into a film.
How many fights have you put on altogether?
15 fight shows, events in 3 years of my own. That's USA MMA, but I've done another probably 10 for other promoters around the country.
Now, you also have trained a little bit yourself, too, right?
Yeah. I've fought professionally as a boxer, kickboxer, Muay Thai, MMA. Altogether, I've had probably 50 pro fights.
Dang, what's your favorite style? What do you consider yourself?
I'm a striker. I like to stand and punch, and then my grappling's good enough. I've won regional tournaments. In no-gi, in my division, the last couple of years, I've been undefeated. In gi, I'm not as good. I've probably won 30% of my fights in gi. No gi, I haven't lost in a couple of years, but in gi, I just don't get it, I mean, I get it. I just don't like grabbing and, but with no gi, I'm pretty good. I was a wrestler with the military, grappled in the military, so no gi is my favorite style. But, I still compete regularly, have 2 more tournaments to fight in this year.
I'm looking forward to seeing this movie. It's based out of, you guys are in Louisiana. Lafayette,
Louisiana. Our company was born here. Actually, our first event was in New Iberia, Louisiana. And our family lives and breathes MMA. Like, we're not, your typical people. Everything we do is MMA. My wife, my children, everything is about fighting. Everything we do is about the fight game. And that's what we love, and that's what we do, and that's how it's going to be for a long time.
I guess after I arranged the interview with your PR people, I got your wife liked my fan page, Voice of the Cage, on Facebook, and so I was trolling around on the page, and man, you guys, that's all it is fight posts. I mean, it looks like mine. I know my friends sometimes probably get irritated with, all Patrick talks about is mixed martial arts, but, that's my life, man. I love doing it, and I could totally identify with that.
Well, the combat sports, man. I mean, whether it's boxing, MMA, kickboxing, grappling, it doesn't matter. The fight game, combat sports is legitimacy. It's a legitimate sport. It's a love. It's a passion. It's something you have to live. There's a lot of posers out there, and they'll always get exposed. But those people that live the life and that actually everything about them, they live, breathe, eat, dream, sleep, fighting or the combat sports, it always comes through, and that's the beauty of this film,
And, you know, the funny thing is I notice about martial artists, and you can tell me this too, is like once I started training and started to getting to know more people in the sport, there are so many nice, respectful people in the sport. It's not a bunch of brutes, you know, running, pushing, bullying each other around, you know, wearing affliction shirts, you know, like the guys you see at the bars or whatever, right? You know, there's some good, respectful people in the sport, wouldn't you say?
Well, most of the people in this sport are respectful. The posers are the ones that come out there and wear the T-shirts. Look, if you're not sponsoring me, I'm not wearing your T-shirt, bro. That's as simple as it is, you know? I'll wear a gym T-shirt for, like, Gladiator Academy here in Lafayette. I'll wear their shirt. I'll wear a Cajun Karate shirt. Not because they're a karate studio, but because they have a legitimate grappling program there. I wear their shirt. I wear my company shirts, small company T-shirts. But the big companies, look, man, I don't need to pose and wear your stuff, you know? You're not sponsoring me, I'm not wearing your stuff. Very simple, you know?
So when you first started doing these fight promotions, now did you notice that it was hard to make money? Because I've seen on the local level that with this organization that I've been with, I mean, it's just, you know, it's a struggle. And then plus you have a lot of fighters, you know, you got a great card set up and then someone gets injured and you got to go find someone else. And then there's this problem and that problem. You know, what problems have you run into and obviously, why do you keep doing it?
Well, the biggest problem I run into is haters, man. I mean, you know, like, I'll put it to you this way. I've been in the fight game for a long time through mixed martial arts and grappling, and I knew a lot of people. So in Louisiana, about 4 years ago, all of a sudden the sport just blew up. And that was in relation to, of course, the UFC and how it went to Spike Television. That, to me, is the rebirth of the sport. Yep. When Forrest and Stephan Bonner had their war, when they brought the Ultimate Fighter reality show to television and brought that to TV, that was the rebirth of the sport. The sport was, to me, was on life support. At that point, would-be promoters 4.5 years ago came out of the woodwork. Mm-hmm. They didn't know any fighters in the business, so what they were doing, they were contacting me because I know a lot of people. I'm not necessarily an over-the-top personality, but damn close to it, you know, and everybody knew Gil. Hey, get in touch with Gil. He can get you the fighters. So I became matchmaker. I coordinated events, and I just traveled around doing that all over the country. People calling me up, hey, man, can you come? Yeah, sure, I'll come. X amount of dollars. This is what I want. This is what. And I was making a good living with it. But they all ran into something. They all had the same thing wrong. They didn't know how to promote.
Right.
They want to be promoters, and just because you get a promoter's license doesn't mean you're a promoter.
Absolutely.
It means nothing. They were all doing houses of 200 to 700 people. All of a sudden, I came in with my first event, 3,000 people. I average between 4,000 to 5,000 people per event. And we do that because we know how to promote. And you can't miss the one thing in the promotion game that nobody does. They think because they have all this money behind them that they can forget about going face-to-face, eye-to-eye contact with people. Being a promoter is a job. It's not just being a promoter for the glory of being a promoter. They all want the women. They all want to be in the center of the cage. They all want to be in the front of all these people. Oh, he's the promoter. That's what they want people to know about him. He's the promoter. What does that do, man?
That's true.
All right? It's not making you rich. It's not making a living for you. All you're doing is you're taking other people's money. And here's what promoters I find they're doing. They'll get these people to put up money for an event, making promises to them, and they never repay these people. Yep. And so promoters get a bad rep. And I've taken what we've done. We've never asked for an investor. We've never had investors. I've had people beg me to get involved. And for us, we've never done it. I've had one friend of mine that wanted to make some money, and he gave us $10,000 on a $47,000 show. He gave us $10,000. I gave him $12,000 back. When the show was over with, he made $2,000 in a month, and he was happy.
So you've been able to self-sustain, basically, in this game.
I sustained, made a living for my family. My kids go to private school. We're not rich. We make a good living for ourselves. And this game, I'll be around for a long time. I'm not going anywhere. But now we're at the point where we need investors. USA-MMA is the best mixed martial arts company you've never heard of. And that's because we're honest. We're not like other quote-unquote promoters that give the sport a bad name. We're out to make money. If you're not out to make money, then you're not in the business for the right reason. Love of the sport can only carry you so far. I love this sport. But if I couldn't make a living at it and my family couldn't eat because of my love for this sport, what good is it going? What good is it doing?
Right.
That's just the truth of it. Otherwise, I'd just be a mark who loves who loves the sport of MMA is going to spend money on MMA and never amount to anything.
You definitely sound like a character, Gil. I'm definitely looking forward to meeting you on Saturday. You're going to be in Austin, right?
I'm going to be in Austin, man. We're leaving Friday morning. HDNet's coming down to help us promote the film. Ron Kruk called me yesterday, man. It took a lot of negotiating with them, but they've been to a bunch of my events. They've showcased our events on Inside MMA. So I've gotten to know them and called them up a couple of weeks ago, and we've been negotiating. So finally, yesterday, we got the word for it. We're going in. Let's see. I'm leaving Lafayette Friday morning. We'll be in Austin Friday afternoon. Of course, I'll be contacting everybody. You, HDNet, everybody's going to get together, the producers, the promoters, the director. We're going to all have dinner Friday night. Saturday's the premiere of the film. And it's going to be fantastic, man. I can't wait. I'm excited and I'm scared.
It's going to be good. The trailer looks wonderful, man. I've seen it, and I love documentaries, and obviously I'm a fan of mixed martial arts, so I'm looking forward to checking out this film. Now, it also kind of goes. There's a fighter that you have. Is it Dustin the Diamond Poirier? How do you say his last name?
Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Dustin is my 155-pound champion. He went into the WEC a few months ago, fought at 55 against, I think, Danny Castillo, but those guys are just too big. His body is so lean. The 55-pounders at the world-class level are just beasts, and his body is so lean and long that he lost that fight. It was close, but he lost that fight. Then he went up against Josh Grisby, who was in line to fight the 145-pound champion, and destroyed Grisby. Destroyed him. And so, he was scheduled to fight Jose Aldo, of all people. He was the number one contender to fight Jose Aldo. They needed a replacement. Dustin stepped up and said, let's go. I have nothing to lose. I got to leave my mark in this business,
Right.
Went in and absolutely destroyed the guy from start to finish. I couldn't believe it. He stuffs every takedown. He dominated him physically, but that's where Dustin needs to be at 45 because his body is not the bulky type. When you think of 55, you think of like Sean Shirk, those muscle-bound, those strong, thick guys. Dustin is too lean for that.
Right.
But with his length and his leanness, he'd be awesome at 45. So he didn't think he could cut it, but he cut it, made 45, destroyed Grisby.
This movie, Fightsville, is going to be showing 3 times during South by Southwest. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but Saturday night, 4:30 p.m., obviously by the time the radio show airs, we'll have missed that time, but you can also catch it on Tuesday, March 15th at noon over at the Alamo South Lamar location, and again on Thursday, March 17th at 9 p.m. over at the State Theater. Yeah, and of course you can go to the Voice of the Cage Facebook fan page, and you can get more info on that. Appreciate you taking the time to do this interview with me.
Oh, I appreciate it, brother. Anytime that you want, you need somebody on air, just give me a call, dude.
Definitely. And the film's called Fightsville, and it's basically a story about the fight game in small town Lafayette, Louisiana, and how we're putting on martial arts, about the fighters and the sacrifices they're having to make. Also, too, for the people that can't see this at South by Southwest, do we know how we can see this movie? I guess they don't have a distributor yet.
No, they're working on the deal right now, trying to get some kind of national distributorship, and I don't know if that's going to be, theaters. I don't know if it's going to be theaters. I don't know if it's going to be DVD, what it's going to be. But it's going to be some kind of distributorship to get that movie out to the public. And I really don't know anything about that side of the business yet. That Michael Tucker, he's kind of keeping everything. He wants me to be, surprised, I guess. I don't know, man. I've seen the trailer, and that's all I've seen. But I know I've lived the last 3 years of my life around this film. And so I just hope it portrays us in the right light, because if it don't, then I'm going up to New York and, stabbing him in the neck with a rusty knife,
Edit! All right, Gil, I'll see you shortly, man. Thanks again for joining me today.
All right, no problems, man. Just get your cell phone to me so we can get together in Austin.
Thanks for listening to Voice of the Cage Radio with the Voice of the Cage, Patrick Stanger. Please email questions. Do you want me to say please or just email? Please seems so out of place.
Did I say please? Okay, sorry. No, don't.
Let me elbow you in the face, and please email your inquiries. Okay. Email questions, inquiries, and other business to info@voiceofthecage.com. Facebook search Voice of the Cage and like to get the latest Voice of the Cage radio show. To book Patrick Stanger at your next fight promotion, visit voiceofthecage.com.